Testing, 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 testing. I think that we're good. A little loud. Good, good, good. Some people to introduce you to, and then we got some panelists to hear from. How are you? All right, all right. There is some food up here. If you guys are hungry, feel free to grab. Some people I see are already munching. We do have some more mimosas over there in the corner, so as hugs are going out, feel free to grab food, drink, whatever you want. How many of you, this is your first time ever coming to one of our panels, just out of curiosity? First timers. I see some first timers. Welcome. Good to have you here. We do these on the third Thursday of each month with Tampa Bay Real Producers. I want to thank Whiskey Cake for letting us use their venue. They are always amazing hosts, as you can see, with all the food spread and everything they put out for us, opening up early. So let's give them a round of applause, please. Whiskey Cake, thank you. Let me take a second, if you're not familiar with Tampa Bay Real Producers, to just explain what we're doing here today, and then we'll get started. Tampa Bay Real Producers, guys, if you wouldn't mind grabbing a seat so we can get rolling. Tampa Bay Real Producers is a part of a national franchise that represents about 125 markets around the country. Tampa Bay Real Producers, though, is focused on Pinellas County, Hillsborough County, and Pasco County agents, which consist of about 17,000 licensed agents, according to the numbers last year, who did at least one deal, according to the MLS. So to be in the top 500, which is who we serve through our magazine and through many of our private events, an agent would have had to do $13 million or more in volume to be considered top 500. How many of you have ever seen our magazine before, know what I'm talking about? Cool. Some of you I know have been featured in the magazine. This event is an open invite event for any agent. So I know there's agents in the room right now that have not been featured yet by Tampa Bay Real Producers, or hope to be, I would hope, one day, by breaking that $13 million level, or whatever the top 500 level will be next year. And so this is why we put this panel on. Our goal of these panels is to provide ongoing education and contribution to the agent community in Tampa Bay through top producers every single month. We usually have anywhere from 1 to 5 panelists a month that spotlight different topics. And so this, obviously today, we're going to focus on building wealth the real estate way. And that's our topic that we'll dive into. You can go on our website, which is tampabayrealproducers.com, click on events, and see all of the topics that we did this year. Many of them are recapped on our YouTube channel. But also, we will be launching all of our 2025 topics probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. You'll see them up on the website. So this is our last panel for this year. For many of you, this will be our last event anyway with Tampa Bay Real Producers this year. We have one more event on the 12th of December, which will be more of a private MVP social / holiday party for many of our partners and our December features in the magazine. So that will be our last official event of 2024. So with that being said, this entire platform is supported by certain vendor partners that make this possible. One of the unique things about Real Producers as a franchise is we don't charge real estate agents anything to be featured in our magazine like most real estate magazines do. If you're familiar with most real estate magazines, they usually feature real estate listings and agents pay to be on the covers. And I'm not saying anything wrong with that model because agents have to get exposure like any other business owner. But the reality is our business model was built on, we just want to recognize agents for their production. And that's the sole reason why someone is featured in Tampa Bay Real Producers. So of course that means that we have a lot of support from our vendor partners in order to do what we do. Run events like this, produce the magazine each and every single month that we've done now since 2018 here in this market. And without our partners, none of that would be possible. Our partners are mortgage lenders, title companies, home inspectors, insurance professionals, roofers, stagers, really all these different industries that support you in your business. But without them, many of you, I know, wouldn't be as successful as you are without your vendor partners. And ultimately, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without them either. A few of them are specifically sponsoring this series, all right, that we do every month. I'm going to bring a few of them up. They're going to say a couple quick words. Then we're going to bring up our 3 panelists, and we're going to dive into our topics today. So first person I want to recognize is Jeff Ackerman. If Jeff can come on up with Home Team. Jeff and Margot and the Home Team squad have been supportive of our platform for many, many years now, and we're very appreciative. Thank you, Jeff.
Well, good morning. I don't know if you saw the article I read this morning from Redfin, but sales for the 4 weeks ending November the 10th in the Tampa Bay area were down 7.2%. Of course, the hurricanes contributed to that. But there's a lot. We've had our inventory in Tampa back to normal for quite a while now compared to the rest of the country. And so there are a lot of houses for sale. And one of the ways that you can separate yourself from others is to do a pre-listing inspection, because there's certain advantages to that. Number one, you can find out what's wrong with the house, and if the house is as old as I am, you can guarantee you there's certain things wrong, and if it's as old as Don, with all those kids, things are probably starting to wear out as well. So you could find out what those things are, you could decide if you want to fix some of them, and you can take your time finding a vendor that's going to be able to do it for you at a good price. And then you know how to set your sales price because you know how clean the house is or isn't, and you can justify that. In addition, if you see the flyer on most of those tables anyway, we do have that little sign you see on that picture. And if you have a pre-listing inspection from us, we'll provide that sign to you, which we think will attract a lot of interest because people have never seen anything like that. They're going to wonder, what does it mean that you had a pre-inspection? Some realtors are using the pre-inspection to secure the listing by volunteering to pay for it themselves. If you decide to do that, we will discount that price to you for 15%. And finally, you or your seller, whoever's paying for it, can postpone payment until closing, which would give them an opportunity to save their money and not pay for it till closing. Anyway, thank you very much, and Don, wake up.
Thank you, Jeff. You can put it behind you, buddy. Thank you so much. All right, let me introduce you to one of our lending partners here, Katie Weldon, Team Katie, the mortgage lady. Come on up. Thank you for all your support. Here we go.
Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
having me. Is this on? Oh, okay. All right. I'm usually very loud, so I was like, I can't hear myself. This is weird. Good morning, Katie Weldon, also known as Katie the Mortgage Lady. Today I want to just briefly talk about setting goals, and it's kind of similar to going on a diet before the holidays. I was just talking to someone about this, right? We're like, I'll just wait till the new year to go on a diet, and then 20 pounds later, you're like, oh, what have I done? It's the same with goal setting. So I'm doing a lot of work with teams and with brokers to do an ideal day workshop, which helps the agents create their ideal day and set their goals so they make sure that both their activities, and would love to do that, whether it be now or in the new year, but I recommend now so that you don't fall behind. Thank you so much.
All right, do I have Joey in the house? Did I see Joey with Aspire? There he is. Okay, enjoying the food as we see. Joey with Aspire Plans is one of our partners as well, and I thought this was a great topic, obviously, with building wealth. So, Joey, you want to come on up, say a quick word about your service and how it relates to this topic?
A lot of people don't know that you can use your retirement plan to invest in real estate, which is amazing to me. Most people don't know this. You can use your IRA or your 401k to invest in real estate, and everybody should have some real estate exposure in their portfolio, in their retirement plans. You can buy ETFs or mutual funds, but it probably makes more sense to have direct ownership of real estate. It is one of the most accessible ways to build wealth, especially if you have a good agent. And inflation is a thing. It's going to always be a thing. You're going to always need more dollars to buy your real estate. So invest in real estate, use your IRA. I help people transition their IRAs and 401ks into a checkbook control account where they can write checks to buy their real estate, deposit checks for rent into that same bank account that they control directly. So we help you do that. My name is Joey, and good luck.
Joey, thank you. Joey and I had a chance to grab lunch recently, and very informational guy. He knows a lot about the investing background, so if you're somebody who has an interest in this topic, which is probably why you're here, I would encourage you to connect with him. I think you'd probably learn a few things, and I know I did. Edward, do I see Edward with Magnum Roofing? Did I see them in here? Any Magnum team? All right, so Magnum Roofing and Restoration is one of our partners. Last chance, shout it out. Edward, I didn't see you. All right, so they support our platform, and I wanted to make sure that you guys knew who they were. You can check them out at magnumroofingandrestoration.com. And we have the FBI group as well, Dusty and the team. Dusty, if you want to come up and say a quick hello, thank you for all your support. You got a great big event coming up soon, I'm sure you could mention. Yes.
We do. All right, so come on, a little more clapping. Wake up, wake up, wake up. So good morning, everybody, and thank you, Dawn, for having us. Beside me is my beautiful Deanne. She covers Pinellas for us. So if you're covering that side of the world, please make sure you check out with her. She's She's fab. I just absolutely love her. She's doing a great job. So my name is Dusty, and I am with Florida Building Inspection Group. And it's November, right? It's all about gratitude. And so we, 9 years ago, started an event called Mega Marketing. Anybody heard of it? Come on. Some people raise your hands. There you go. I have speakers that come in, and all we do is talk and educate you on marketing all day long, from 9 o'clock in the morning until 5, and we're going to end it this year with a happy hour, so be sure you stick around and have some cocktails with us, because we know that's how we live and breathe and die, right? We created this, and we really wanted this to be our signature event, right? Everybody's always asking you for something. We want to be a good business partner and give to you. And so that's really why we created Mega Marketing. We provide you with free headshots all day, not one penny out of your pocket. I'm not charging you to come to the event. We have brought in Mr. Thank You, so if you missed him here a month ago, you can come back to Mega Marketing and see him.
What's his name?
It is John Israel, so if you have not heard him speak, he's phenomenal, and I'm super excited about him being our keynote speaker. We have Katie speaking, Don's my MC, Tony Baroni's going to be there, Gisette Cohen, you name it, guys. When I say I'm bringing top-notch presenter Melvin, KJ, come on, we are bringing it for you, a full day of excitement. Please make sure that you scan the QR code, pre-register, and then on December the 2nd, I will be sending you out classes to choose from. We would be very honored if you all would come, bring your teams, make a day of it, and I guarantee you walk away with some knowledge that you didn't have. So,
What kind of classes can they choose from?
oh, we've got Instagram, TikTok, ManyChats, CapCut, you name it, Canva, yes, podcasting, AI. You talk about it, we're bringing it. If you're a vendor in the room, unfortunately, my mortgage and title companies, I'm already maxed out on how many booths I can allow them to have, but I appreciate everybody who wanted to be there. If you're interested in becoming a vendor, my advisor, I really would like to talk to you. Please see me. I would really like to see if we could get some more vendors out there so that we give a wide range of offerings to our agents, that you know that you've got good, solid vendors that you're working with. So thanks so much, and have a great, what is this? Your
Day. You could say day.
Yeah, it's
have a great
Thursday.
day.
Yeah, have a great day.
Thank you. Sounds like a great event. I will be speaking at the event, so that's going to make it even better. I can't wait. It should be a lot of fun. We have one more partner that I want to introduce you to, then we'll get our panelists up here, and that is Mr. Melvin over there with Milestone Title, the social media maverick himself. Melvin, feel free to say a quick hello. Thank you, brother.
What's going on? For those of you that do not know me, my name is Melvin. I run all of our agent success team as well as our digital strategies. So just kind of a little tidbit, if you didn't meet me before, don't know what we do. We're really good at title, right? But title is title. A lot of people can be really good at title. We take it a whole nother level. We have an agent success team that actually meets with you individually, your team, figures out your goals, what you want to do, whether it's a tech hurdle, whether it is systems, whether it is something you want to grow on Instagram, social media, you name it. We have the tools, we have the systems, we have the backing and the support to help you grow. Ultimately, our goal is to help you become more successful at what you do through relationship building. We're not out there chasing after just everyone and anyone. We don't want to do business with everyone and anyone. We want to do business with people who are like-minded and want to grow. So that's kind of what I do. It's kind of how we help you guys. We have tons of events coming up. I mean, the next year, we spent about 6 hours last week planning out all the things we've ever dreamt of doing, and we're putting it all to paper, and we're putting it all into action starting at the beginning of next year. So if you guys want to follow on that journey, be a part of it, need a good title company, backing support, even if you need bilingual, we have an entire Spanish team in our office. We can cover anything and everything you could possibly imagine. Find me on Instagram. It's probably the easiest way to keep abreast of all the things that we're doing. It's Melvin, spelled with a Y, M-E-L-V-Y-N, Ray, Melvin Ray. So give me a follow. If you have any questions, shoot me a message, a text, and we'll get you all situated. Appreciate you.
Thank you, brother. All right. We appreciate every single sponsor that supports Real Producers, and the ones you just heard from are a few that support this particular series. So without you, we wouldn't be able to do this. We have 3 great panelists today. You guys ready to hear from them? So the first one that I'm going to introduce to get rolling here is sitting right in front of me. So Beth Silverman is going to come on up first. Beth, all 3 of these panelists I've had a pleasure of having either on a podcast or having lunch with them or getting to know them on a more personal level. And Beth is a dynamo, I would call her, as far as the real estate world, not only as an agent and a producer and all that fun stuff, But obviously what she's here today to focus on is investments, right? And one of the things that Beth is passionate about, and she actually has it in her bio here, is being on a mission to become the most sought-after investment specialist on the planet. That's a big goal. I love that. And Beth has a lot of background in working through the REO space, working in new development. She's from Long Island, New York, has done over 75 high-performing beach short-term rentals in under 5 years when she first came down here to St. Pete. One of the things that we talked a lot about was her relationship with a platform called Pad Split. You might be familiar with that platform. Beth has been pretty integrally involved in that platform since it started, and so I'm sure we'll touch on that a little bit today as well. She's an EXP Realty Mentor, Instructor of the Year, 3-time icon and best-selling author. Let's give her some love. Beth Silverman. All right, Mr. Diesel. Mr. Diesel. Tim Diesel. His last name just is cool to say, you know? Tim Diesel is in the house. So Tim is yeah, I'm sure. I got to say something, man. They got to know something about you. Tim is a commercial real estate specialist. That's all you really need to know, all right? We have him, and Tim and I had a chance to have lunch not that long ago, and it was just cool to pick his brain and the way he thinks about real estate investing, specifically commercial investing. And so as you'll notice, the 3 different panelists that we have today really have specific niches that we wanted to focus in on. Beth being short-term rentals. Tim's going to focus a lot on commercial portfolio building and commercial investments. And our last person that I'll bring up, of course, is Jeffrey Borum, who's going to talk a lot about buying, hold, and fix and flips, which has been a big strategy of his as well. So, Tim, I will just say this, that he is an author of Dominate Commercial Real Estate. And that's all you need to know about Tim. Okay. Jeff, come on up, brother. You're next. Jeffrey Borum with EXP. Jeff has been on multiple panels before. Many of you probably are aware of his team, Team Borum within EXP. They're one of the top producing real estate teams in Tampa Bay right now. He has a lot of success in the retail, residential, team building component. We've had him come and speak on that before with team building and everything involved with building an infrastructure of success within the EXP business model. But today, obviously, we're having him focus on more of the investment side and the building wealth side. Jeff has been a member of our Elite Agent Mastermind over the last year. So in that mastermind, it's been fun to hear his thoughts on fix and flips and how he's building his, really another division of his team to be able to build additional sources of revenue and wealth. And so it's been fun to hear more about that. So we'll be focused on that today. Those are our 3 panelists. We're going to get rolling. Let's give them one more round of applause. All right. So why don't we start with just easing into this briefly on, obviously real estate is not the only way to invest out there, right? It's not the only way to build wealth. So I think it would be nice for people to hear your personal reasons or beliefs as to why real estate is a path that you've chosen to build the majority of your wealth through and your portfolio through. Why real estate compared to some other investment vehicles? Who wants to go first? Start with Jeff. Go ahead.
Does this thing work?
I think it does.
I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, George has got it.
Good
The
morning.
Magic Man's got it.
Who knows what the average return is in the stock market historically? S&P 500. How much? I think it's more like 8, but I love your guys' optimism. That's fantastic. We're going to roll with 8% because I think that's accurate. And does anybody know what the historical average return is on residential real estate since 1980 or 1970? The annual return since 1970 is 4.1%. The annual return in real estate since 1980 is 4.8%. Let me ask you a question. What percentage of money do most people invest when they buy a real estate investment property? 20%. How many times does 20 go into 100? 5. What's 4.8 times 5? 24% for you guys did not graduate 3rd grade math. Okay, it's 24%. How many times does 8 go into 24? 3 times. That's right. Your cash on cash return, just talking about appreciation, is 300% more buying and holding real estate than it is buying and holding the S&P 500. And we haven't even talked about depreciation, tax benefits, cash flow, mortgage pay down. The actual number that you're going to get on real estate is about 5x the stock market.
Good stuff, Jeff. Good
I
stuff.
love that.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you have stocks or crypto. Woo! Keep your hand in the air if the bank lent you money to buy those stocks. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk about why we invest in real estate. I'm kind of an outlier when it comes to helping people build wealth. I was diagnosed with cancer at age 26, and when I did not die, I was strapped with over $200,000 in debt. So I was unable to ever purchase real estate. But I got my start in REOs, and I started in the world of fix and flips, and I started teaching my young friends the things that I was learning because I wasn't able to buy. I thought I would have a mountain of debt my entire life. What I learned by becoming a top producing agent is the more I sold, the more commission I made. The more commission I made, the more I paid off my debt. The moment that debt was paid down, which took a decade of surviving and paying it down, I was able to get in the game and apply everything that I had learned. I don't know what you guys have planned for your retirement. I don't know how many of you have 401ks, IRAs. I don't know what your plan is, but if you want to be holding open houses and selling real estate and showing 49 houses with agreeable gray paint and white shaker cabinets in your 60s and 70s, by all means do that. I'm 47 and I'm exhausted and I don't want to do that anymore. So the game plan is to scale, cash flow, sit back, and relax. Does that sound good? Okay, let's talk about that today.
Can you guys hear me okay? All right, so I'm gonna keep it simple for you. It's much easier to finance. So to get in real estate, specifically commercial real estate, is way easier. And I'll prove it to you. How many lenders do we have in here? Somebody just throw your hand up. Can you do a seller financing second after your loan? Probably not in residential. In commercial real estate, it's almost expected. So much easier financing. More money, they're bigger deals. You're gonna make more money even if you mess up. And then the third one, which is my personal favorite, there's very little competition. How many people in this room are doing commercial deals? Not one or two, not very many, but everybody's looking for the next flip because the hurricane wiped out the whole beach areas and we gotta get them at a good deal. Why do that? It just makes it simple. Is that good?
I think it's great. You guys set the stage well. Okay, so this is a little bit of a different format for those of you who have been to these before, because normally we have like one topic and then we have the three panelists give their opinions on that one topic, right? And we do have an overarching topic here, which is called building wealth. But I want to dive into the fact that each one of you was asked to be here really for almost a completely separate topic, right? You being really a commercial specialist, we want to dive into that, short-term rentals, and then of course your fix and flip and long-term rental philosophy. So how I want to structure it is I'd like to try to give each of you 5 minutes, okay? And within those 5 minutes, I just want you to share some of your belief systems revolving around specifically that niche as to why that has become one of your favorite strategies, and you might have just touched on that, Tim, okay? But then you can also talk a little bit about how that evolved, right? So a little bit just to give people an understanding of the genesis of the story. I know, speaking of commercial for a second, a lot of people are intimidated to get into commercial real estate. The numbers are big, the buildings are big, everything just seems bigger than me, right? And so I think they can learn a lot, many people can, from just your story a little bit, Tim, is how you got into it, why, and how deals started happening, and it wasn't as intimidating once you started diving into it as you have. And all of you can do the same, right? Fix and flips, short-term rentals. What specifically about that has been attractive to you, and anything you think you can share in those 5 minutes? Then we will dive into some other questions, so we will have more time than just that. But why don't we start with Tim, this side, and then we'll work back, and we'll start with you on this.
Okay, so I'll try to unpack it a little bit, and if I may, I'm going to tell you what your favorite strategy should be. You shouldn't be concerned with my favorite strategy. You should be concerned with how you can get into it and make money and all that fun stuff. And at any time, if I'm going too fast, because I see a couple faces, they look confused, I want you to get on Google, and you're going to Google Tim Diesel's cell phone number, and my number is going to come up, and you can ask me questions later so I can just keep going in the interest of all this. So it's very easy, it's more attractive to get people on a bigger deal, right? So the numbers are bigger, whatever the case is. So my favorite strategy is adding value on a deal. No matter what type of property it is, it could be retail, and let's take retail specifically. Everybody in here, I guarantee you guys can get a deal before the year is over. That's how easy it is. I don't know if you'll close it, but you'll at least get to talking to people. I'll tell you how to do it right now. It's so simple. Once you leave here and you're going home, or you're on your way to lunch or a friend's house or whatever, you've all seen these before. We're gonna take a small retail building, not very big, and you'll see a for lease sign. You guys ever seen that with a phone number? Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a little secret. That's the owner's phone number. That is not a professional management company. And if it was, that'd be very embarrassing that they don't use the right signs. All you have to do is just call the owner, and I'm not going to even give you a script or anything. It's so simple. Ask them what the story is with the property, and they'll talk to you. Now, if you try doing that on a residential home, man, they're not very happy to get your call, right? So it doesn't work out that way. And a biggest challenge is going to be finding deals. So finding deals, it all takes there's three separate things. Keep it very, very simple. Money, time, and knowledge. Someone's got to have the money to close the deal. Someone's got to have the time to do the work, and someone's got to have the knowledge to know what's going on. The easiest thing to get is money. It's very easy. Finding people with money, if we all get together, we can probably raise $50,000. It's not very difficult. But who's got the time with their everyday life to go manage the property, to go see what's wrong with it? That's a little harder. Who's got the knowledge to specifically take care of that avenue? That's something else. So the biggest challenge that I have found that I think you might run into is finding deals. And I just gave you a kick-butt strategy how to find them. They obviously need help. They're asking for your help. And then growing them. See, once you do enough of these, the deals will start coming to you because people will start calling you and asking you, hey, how do I do this? And you don't have to look for deals very much. Is that good? Was that 5 minutes? I didn't time myself.
You got a little bit more time if you want. You can
Okay.
take it or not. Completely up to you.
I think I made my point. You guys go.
That works. Beth, we'll go to you.
Okay. Is this on? Everybody can hear me? Great. So the evolution, and I agree with you that the strategy that works for one person might not be what fits your risk tolerance and your, financial barriers to entry. But for me, the exit strategy that I choose has to do with the market, the economy. As a realtor, it has to do with my hyper-local market. As an investor, it has to do with the totality of the economy and where I see things going and what asset class I'm looking at. But so if you were my client in 2012, we were doing REOs, we were doing multifamily, Section 8. We did a lot of buy and holds. I'm all about people who flip and who do wholesaling, but those are short-term gains, and you don't build long-term wealth with a short-term gain. You do a short-term gain just to get equity and capital if you can't find partners to buy bigger deals with. So for me, getting into the STR space was just a natural progression. I moved the business from New York to Maryland to Florida, and I always represented investors, and I realized very quickly, because I thought I was going to break into the luxury condo market, y'all, because those are my people. Nah, I was wrong. And I realized quickly, where am I going to find clients? I know one neighborhood and one person, and when you're working with investors and investments, if you have the opportunity, the client will come. If you have the opportunity, the people will come, and I can assure you the people have the money. So I started just studying the MLS like a psychopath, and this was like 2017, 2018, which was the perfect time to be getting into STRs. And I created a one-stop shop. 95% of my clients are from out of state, so I had to be everything. I almost acted like a JV partner without touching their equity. So I created everything from sourcing, penciling, the property management if you needed that, Airbnb outfitters, designers. There was no Air DNA back then. I was running numbers. I love data. You have to love numbers if you want to invest and work with investors or partner with somebody who understands how to analyze a deal. So I just called people I knew from back home, and I was like, yo, if I have this opportunity to make money, are you in or are you in? And they were like, I'm in. And I made a lot of people a lot of money. And I knew the market was starting to shift in 2021, and so I started moving towards midterm rentals with an exit strategy called pad split, which is co-living. And I just simply did it because the STR market was becoming saturated, the entry prices were higher, insurance was higher, our margins were becoming really compressed, and I was like, okay, we need to cash flow more. It's like a tale as old as time. People start with single families, and they go into multifamily, then they go into buildings, then syndications, and so on and so forth until you can tap out and ride off into the sunset. So STRs and co-living have been my mainstay. I think it's really great for first-time investors to get in. It's super easy to analyze those deals, and then you're just scaling. So really with short-term rentals, I've pulled away from them a lot in the last kind of towards the end of 2021 and really got into co-living. But I want to say this, the hurricanes just hit and 35% of our inventory has been wiped out. My GC recovery restoration crew right now is rebuilding 100 homes for my clients. We're also putting together an OM for waterfront opportunities. And at the end of the day, I called every client that I had and I was like, if you have a house that is able to be STR'd legally, we need to get it prepped. People are not canceling their reservations for high season. They are coming. We have to capitalize. Every moment is an opportunity to make money, and you have to be willing to take that opportunity. So we're now hot to trot, putting every house under contract in sight. And I think, did you just say you can close on a house before the end of the year? I just put another property for myself under contract last night to close on December 30th. If somebody told me this year I was gonna bury my brother, lose my roof in the hurricane, get hit by a truck, have my car being totaled, and that I was still gonna manage to buy another property and add to all my doors, I would have said you're crazy. But no time is the right time. The right time is when you have the financial means to get in the game, because it is so much fun to play.
Good stuff, Beth.
What the heck am I talking about? All right. Philosophy.
Your favorite strategies.
Oh goodness. I mean, I'm an old school grinder. I'm like, go read The Richest Man in Babylon, live on 70% of your income, save 30%, go buy a house. Everyone asks, like, how do I become a millionaire? Buy $1 million worth of real estate and wait. It's the easiest path to wealth. If you can go put stuff under contract, if you're in your living years, like, she's talking about cash flow, I'm talking about, and they correlate, right? When you buy a piece of real estate, even if it doesn't cash flow, just make sure you're not buying anything that you have to write a check for. But as long as it pays for itself, like, you're going to make money. Who here thinks that inflation's going away? I hate to break this to you. It ain't going nowhere. Inflation, prices, what's the number one hedge for inflation in the world? Real estate, right? So if you buy real estate, you're hedging against inflation, it's going up. So the way I got my start was just exactly what I just said, living frugally. I mean, there's been times in my life where I was living on 20% of my income, 10% of my income, and just investing the rest. And because of that, I was able to buy a lot of, doors quickly, without partners. I use fix and flips now because you can't freaking cash flow on most houses. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to make money. I've got deals in front of my face. So I've literally created a fix and flip business this year that will make $500,000 this year, and next year will make at least $1 million if things keep going the way that they're going. And using that money to then go buy properties when I do find the properties that do cash flow or make sense. I'm actually going into the short-term rental market now. I think that now's a fantastic time to actually re-enter that market. And the numbers down in Sarasota are fantastic. So I've bought 4 short-term rentals this year in Sarasota. So that market's coming on super strong. The numbers are super strong. They're way better than the numbers in Pinellas or Hillsborough, so I love that. I own 45 doors at the moment. I have a very simple goal of getting to 100 doors. My average rental cost, not cost, but the price, the value is probably about $350,000, right? So I think that's about $16 million in real estate. So when real estate prices go up 25%, which they will in the next 2, 3, 4 years, however long it takes, but they will, I will make $4 million just on the portfolio that I already have. So back to Beth's point, how much money do you need in order to live the life that you want to on a monthly basis? You guys are going to throw out $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, whatever your number is to live the lifestyle that you want to. 5% of $4 million is $200,000 a year. So just that $4 million that I'm going to make on the next 25% appreciation, I can basically risk-free now make $200,000 a year. And that's not cash flow. That's not, being fancy with flips or this. That's just sitting on the real estate. That's why the saying is buy real estate and wait. Don't wait and buy real estate. Get your butt in the market. And if you don't have money, call me. We will find you money. You can buy a deal. You can get a partner. We can get you to hard money lenders if you need to. We can raise money. There's all different ways to get you money if you find the deal. So I would say that is my opinion, is that finding the deal makes you king. When you have the deal, you control the business. It's the same thing as running a real estate team. Why do some people have a real estate team and some people don't? Well, when you have a real estate team, it means you can produce leads. Right? You can produce leads, you can lead people, you can train them. That's really all you need, is those 3 things. If you can produce leads, you can lead people, you can train people, you can build a business. It's the exact same thing in building a real estate portfolio. You need to have a game plan, you need to have money, and a deal. There's only 3 things that you need to build out, whether you're doing it my way, her way, his way, your way, any way. Those are the only 3 things that you need to be successful as a real estate investor.
Great stuff. There's a lot of nuggets there. I jotted down a couple thoughts. So one, the idea, Tim brought it up, money, time, and knowledge, right? The importance of all 3. And I do think it's common, especially for new investors, to get really hung up on the money part. And so I know that all 3 of you said that the money is the easy thing to do, right? Which for a lot of people, that's just hard to get their brain wrapped around. But I hope if there's one thing that if you're not yet in the investment game, so to speak, that you can leave with this panel is the importance of focusing your energy on finding deals, right? And understanding there is a strategy to that, and we'll probably talk even a little bit more about that, but just having faith that there is always money out there. It's that abundant mentality. When the deal is right, money will find it. And if you don't have a deal, then there's no reason to even worry about money anyway, right? So that understanding that priority is really important, and it's a common theme for a lot of successful investors that I've had a chance of getting to know. One other thing I jotted down was the importance, I think Jeff mentioned it, of knowing your number, meaning your financial freedom number, right? There was a workshop that I happened to do years ago at a Tony Robbins event where we literally spent 4 days like identifying our financial freedom number and then worked through all these different strategies on what exactly our portfolio would have to look like in order to live that lifestyle. And a lot of people don't ever take that time to just identify that, so it's always murky and there's no clarity. And if there's no clarity, you don't tend to be as, convicting or intentional about your actions. And so that's a big starting point for people if you haven't had a chance to do.
And think, okay, well, the market's just going to do this, or this is my prediction. No. You need to buy smart. You also need to know when to walk away from a deal and not get bid up and really understand the numbers. You have to reverse engineer. So what are you looking for? I start by asking my clients, what's important to you? Is it the tax benefits? Because then cash flow might not matter. Is it personal use as ROI? Well, then maybe the cash flow doesn't matter. And if people are like, oh, it's the cash flow, it's the cash on cash return. So I just want to ask them, well, what's your idea of a fair return? And let's start there to make sure we're on the same page. And if they're, they want a unicorn deal that's going to fall from the sky and they're really hard to find, I'm going to make sure I sign that client to a retainer so that I'm not wasting my time while I'm searching on and off market to find them this unicorn deal. I think the biggest thing to really just emphasize is understand you or your client's financial limitations. Don't ever push anything into a deal. But also, we talk about ROI all the time. What about COI? What is the cost of inaction? We know this in traditional real estate. If you're waiting for rates to come down, you're an idiot. Those 2 years that you waited for rates to come down, look at how much equity I've built, right? So investing is the same. If you have analysis paralysis, you're gonna lose the deals. You have to be able to be decisive, and if you're new at it, you've got to partner with somebody who understands how to pencil. And the last thing I'll say is I don't really subscribe to a lot of internet pro formas. I think they're all BS. It's like when you look at a seller property disclosure, do you still have your own inspection? You sure do. So for me, looking at someone else's pro formas and their projections doesn't mean anything to me. I'm running every single number long form by hand.
Before we move on, just real quick, Beth, what are you finding as your, what's the examples of the range is the word I'm looking for that you see with your clients? Is it like 10%? Is it up to 20%, up 30%? Where are you finding most of them are at with the cash on cash returns in specifically the short-term rental space?
Well, I will say this. So much of it has to do with who you are as an operator, because that is a full-time job. So if you are self-managing, that takes time. Like, you have to be able to maximize your revenue. So the time to cash flow is really important. From the time we close on the real estate, how long does it take us to outfit, to photograph, to market, to put on the platform, to get leased up? And even we say leased up, even in the STR and MTR space, we're still working to get those rooms filled and those bookings. So the operation strategy is a tremendous factor in your return. I can have 2 identical STRs that my outfitter designs, and she's like bar none the best in the industry. And if I have one person who thinks they can self-manage because they're a physician and they want the hours in the business for the tax strategy, and they're a doctor in California, their STR is going to tank, and they'll be lucky if at the end of the year they're netting 5%. Whereas I have other guys who are like, oh, I've got 50 to 100 hours a year to really work in this business. I don't need a manager that I'm going to pay 15% to. Beth has a whole team. She's taught me how to do this. And those guys are making 20, 25%. And then they're banking that equity, and of course the tax benefits are tremendous. So it's never going to be one size fits all, because the real estate isn't one size fits all.
Totally.
Too.
Yeah, there's definitely a spectrum involved, and there are a lot of nuances as to what's going to affect those returns for sure. Absolutely. Jeff, you want to add a couple thoughts on some of the key metrics within the fix and flip world?
Yeah. So real quick before that, just short long-term rental 1% rule is still king. So you buy it for $250, we want $2,500 a month in rent. And then your numbers should make sense. Obviously, taxes, insurance, check, all that. All right, so for fix and flips, let's just run through a deal I just did. How's that sound?
Yep.
Okay. Boring, I know. Does anybody want to be like my math assistant? Does anyone have a calculator? Okay, let's do math assistant. All right, so I just bought a house in Safety Harbor for $426,000. I used hard money. I paid 1 point. So let's just round up. That's 5%. I had to eat one mortgage payment. That's another $5,000. That's $10,000 in lender fees. Another $5K in regular closing costs. We're at $15K. I put what did I put? I put $65,000 into the house. We're at $80K. I put $15K in a roof. We're at how much? $95. I paid $2,500 for staging. Let's just say $2,500 for insurance. We're at $100K, right? On the exit, I had 4% total in commissions, closing costs. So 4% of the exit was at 639. So 4% of 639 is 1,600 plus 20 is 25.5. Yep. So add that together. 125.5, 639 minus 125. 514 minus the purchase price, 426. I made $88,000 on this flip. So what were the initial numbers that let me know that it was a good flip? You're going to hear every wholesaler on the planet talk about 75 or 70% of ARV minus repairs. Have you guys ever heard that before? Has anyone ever talked to these weird wholesale people? Yeah. You know, so those are their numbers. And if you look at this, if the ARV was 639, which is what I ended up closing at, and we do a base level 75%, what's 75% of 639? 479. What's 70% of 639? 447. Okay, so now we can see that I was actually below that number on the initial, now minus the repairs, and I'm right at the 75, right? So that's what you want to be at, is 75% of ARV minus repairs, and you're going to make money, like 99.9% of the time. So that's how I do it. I literally just run through the math like I did, and I'm like, okay, I can make $80,000. Does Jeff like $80,000? Yes, I hope you do too. So I think that a lot of people think you actually have to go into the commercial space, the multifamily space to make these kinds of paydays, and you don't. You can do it in single family. So for those of you that are residential real estate agents, like, you can make 80 grand on a flip. I made 120 grand on one flip in Bradenton this year. Like, you can make big boy, big girl money on residential flips if you're patient and you buy them right. It's really about how you source them, right? So Beth mentioned that it's all about how you buy it on the way in. And I happen to have a niche with probate attorneys, bankruptcy attorneys, divorce attorneys. That's how I've built my real estate team. I sponsor multiple attorney bar associations. I literally am a professional attorney liaison is really what I do for a living. So I get amazing deals in front of my face, and then I've made friends with some of the best wholesalers in Tampa Bay. So half of my deals are self-sourced through my channels. You know, I have a flip under contract right now that's a little skinnier than what we were just talking about. I'll make about 40 on it. That was self-sourced just from a lead into my team. So what I discovered is back in the day, in the teens, you know, like 2015, 16, 17, I would go on a probate listing appointment, and let's just say it was Holiday, because I bought a lot in Holiday back then, and the house was worth $85,000, $90,000 as it sat, and I'd be sitting there at the table, and they're like, well, I'll take 65 cash right now. And I'm like, okay, well, I'd like to give you 65,000 cash right now. I was paying 65%, 70% for houses really at the table, and that's when I developed a guaranteed sales program, and then we have, you know, cash to buy programs at the real estate team, which is kicking off the leads in order to do fix and flips. And, you know, we only fix and flip houses that don't cash flow, by the way, right? If it cash flows, I'm holding it. Like, I am a long-term hold investor. Like I mentioned, I own 45 doors right now. I want to get to 100 doors. Like, that's the ultimate goal. It's just like, how dumb would you be to pass up an $80,000 hit, a $40,000 hit, a $120,000 hit on properties that don't cash flow if you can make a, you know, pretty damn big paycheck, pardon my French. So that's why I got into the fix and flip market. Really, it's just because the numbers weren't making sense to keep them. They made sense to make a paycheck. And that's what a fix and flip is. It's a job. It's a paycheck. It's not real estate investing. It is a way to make a lot of money, though, so that you can buy the long-term investments and build that cash flow up so you can set yourself up to retire at 47 and not be slaving away selling homes.
Great stuff. One of my mentors shared with me the idea of build massive cash and then turn it into passive cash, right? And so a lot of the fix and flip model is tied into that, is you can use it as a way to churn, to generate. One quick thing, and then I'll go to Tim. The level of confidence that you have, Jeff, in your ARV number Is that based on comps, right? That you're basing it on the neighborhood and what and how and like. So is there anything key there that you think is important? Because I think that's where people screw up. Is they think an ARV is this, but they're not basing that on anything that's solid enough. And so they end up being wrong about the ARV, and it screws everything up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it helps. I happen to be the best realtor in Tampa Bay.
That does help.
When
Yes.
when you look at the neighborhoods and you can run comps, it kind of helps, right?
Yeah.
I'm happy to help any of you, by the way. I happen to be a math genius too. Like no brag. like you're gonna hear like you have to like numbers. You have to like numbers. I'm a math genius. Like knowing and liking numbers is your friend if you want to be a real estate investor, right? And I think that that's the key is I will help any of you analyze a deal. I'm sure they would as well. Like it's fun for me to run numbers and look at numbers. And even if I think the house is going to sell for $650, I ran numbers on that house at $625. I sold it for $639. So I was running at $25K below. So I'm very conservative with my ARVs. I can be looking in a subdivision that just had a sale and it was $450. I'm like, can I make money at $400? You know, I mean, I think that even realtors don't talk enough about the ebbs and flows of the market. We have micro corrections and micro bull rallies all the freaking time. Who's busier now than 2 weeks ago? I mean, if you're not raising your hand, you're hiding somewhere. I mean, the real estate market has exploded in the last 2 weeks. If I would have put up a fix and flip a month ago, I'd be nervous as you know what. Now I'm super confident. I want to get at least 5 more under contract before the end of the year. Like now is money making season. Look, I have 30 agents that are on my real estate team, and all I kept hearing from them the last 3 months, people are waiting for rates to come down or after the election. People are waiting for rates to come down or after the election. Well, we're after the election. So whether it's because Donald Trump is who won or we're just after the election, I don't particularly care. All I know is the real estate market's hot right now. We had multiple offers on 5 listings this last weekend. It was like 2021 on Team Bourne. We had 9 offers on one, 6 on another, 5 on another, and 3 on another. On listings that we put up last Thursday. I literally had agents telling me it feels like 2021. And I'm like, well, this ain't 2021. However, like, I'll take it. I have a bet with a couple of my senior agents. I bet them like 3 months ago. I'm like, just $100 like gentleman bets. I'm like, come February, March of 25, we will have multiple offers on at least 50% of our listings that go up in the spring. And now I think it's going to be 75%.
Get in the game, people. Get in the game. Tim, I want to go to you. Specifically regarding, again, analyzing a commercial building or a portfolio. I know that we could talk a lot about that. We don't have the time to do it justice. But if you could maybe just share a little bit about like the importance of cap rates. I'm assuming that's a big part of how you analyze a deal. What it even is for people who might not know. Anything else that you think is really important for them to understand if they're going to get into that space.
Okay, so I'm all about keeping everything simple. And Jeff was really talking crazy numbers. I don't want to do all that. So cap rate is just the return the property gives you. So let's keep it simple. Let's use 10. You're not going to get 10. I'm just using 10 just so we're not lost. So remember the example I gave you guys about the vacant space that you're going to call and you're going to fill in? So let's just say it's a small shop, a sandwich shop, and you get $2,000 a month, which is not a huge on rent, anybody renting commercial space. And you sign a 10-year deal and you get $240,000. Do you guys know how I got that? $24,000 in a year times 10. And let's say you don't get a 10-year. That's kind of hard. Let's say you get a 5-year deal. It's $120,000. That means you just increased the value of that property with one space from $120,000. What seems easier to you? Trying to find a flip or whatever and, STR? No. Find somebody who needs a space. You've increased the value of that person's property. Maybe not $120,000 because I just used 10, but it's actually more than that, because 7 caps are where everything is. So that's how simple it has to be. You don't need to get into analyzing all this stuff. What Don's asking about is like the bigger deals. Don't worry about that. Just start small. You're not ready for that. You don't need that. And the big buildings no, that's down the road. Keep it simple.
What would you identify, Tim, as small, in your opinion, in the commercial world?
So small, maybe 10,000 square foot of retail, office space. Don't get an office unless you know what you're doing. A multifamily, like a 20-unit building, 15-unit. It doesn't have to be crazy. Whenever you see like 100 units or 2, there's no need for all that. You can do very well with small stuff because there's just so many of them. And there's so many businesses looking for space. And there's so many owners that need help because they don't know how to find those businesses. So that's where I was saying start small. You don't necessarily ever have to go big. You can stay small the whole time. You do just fine. You only have to do a couple deals a year. You don't have to do that many. Just keep it simple. Pace yourself.
Great stuff, man. Appreciate it. For 10 minutes or so that we have left, I wanted to share maybe a minute or two each on what's, I think we tend to learn a lot from our biggest challenges and our biggest failures. And in the investment world, I know I've made some mistakes in terms of investments that I've gotten into, and I learned lessons the hard way on certain things. And so I'm curious your opinions on what are some of the biggest challenges or even mistakes, I guess, that you faced in your career. And is there a particular lesson that you feel like you learned from it that would be helpful? Tim, all three of you, yeah?
Okay.
We can start with Tim.
So I'm not gonna really tell you about my biggest challenges because I don't think that's relevant to most of you. Talk about your biggest challenge. Your biggest challenge is gonna be finding a deal. 100%, that's gonna be the hardest thing. You think it's finding the money, but it's not. Because if I told you guys right now I got a deal with $500K in profit, we can find the money. Even if you don't have it, you can help me find it. So finding the deal, focus on finding the deal. That's gonna be your biggest challenge. It's not a challenge anymore just because there's so many sources and there's so many people I talk to. But when you're first starting out, you're gonna have to talk to other realtors. And I know in residential it's kind of weird, but in commercial we talk to other realtors because they have other deals that we may be looking for. So you're gonna have to really grow your network. And I would tell you, spend that 30, 60 days, whatever you need, looking for deals and just talking to people. And that's how you find these opportunities. You can go online and search them and all that fun stuff, but just keep it simple, start small. So my biggest challenge in the beginning for me, and I think that's what you're gonna run into, is finding deals and just finding the right opportunity. Everything else will fall into place. I promise you. Even if, because you find a deal that's too big, I mean, you can just call Jeff and say, hey, I got a deal with $1 million in profit. Can you help me close it? Sure. That's not a problem. So just focus on finding the deal and keeping it small.
Okay. Beth?
I think fear is something we have to take into consideration. We've acquired over 350 doors, and it's just taking that first initial step. I think whether you're buying an owner-occupy, whether you're house hacking, whether it's your fifth property, it doesn't get easier unless you're using other people's money. But when you see the money in your bank accounts like draining, and you know you're gonna get the tax benefits, you know why you're doing this. You know there is a long-term play in place when it comes to real estate investing. But there is always that fear, and I see it time after time after time. And even last night when I was thinking, shit, should I sell some stocks because I don't want to pull liquid out of this account? And you just get scared about watching the numbers dwindle. But you have to just trust and believe. If you don't believe in yourself, you must believe in the team that you hire to help you with the acquisition. So I think getting past your fear and then understanding how to operate the property. I've just watched way too many property management companies, whether long-term, whether in big buildings, just take these properties into the ground because the investor just thinks that passive income is passive when that's a lie. If you want it to be passive, go into a REIT, and then you're not really in control. So for me, really understanding who your operating team is essential. Fear and operations.
Good stuff. Jeff?
Can I add something that has nothing to do with your question?
Sure.
My brain
Flexible
just does
here.
weird things, I just wanted everyone to not have fear about the storms and such, because what you'll find is that every area that's ever had significant damage from a hurricane or another natural disaster is literally booming a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line. And all Milton didn't do anything, so we can forget about Milton. I know it gave us all PSTD, but storm damage wise, minimal, okay? Helene was the real event.
Except the trop.
Yeah, well, and St. Pete's just morons talk about bad operators. I mean, God, how do you not have proper insurance? They could have had that thing back up and running in 6 months, but they're idiots. So when you're looking at areas that have been hit by significant, natural disasters, a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, they're just booming. Think about what's happening. It's gentrification on steroids. There's about $75 billion worth of money that's going to be spent in the next 2 to 3 years total just on recouping, rebuilding, knocking down, building new. It is a massive, massive economic boom to Tampa Bay. As horrible it is for those affected, I'm affected by it. Many of you are probably affected by it. While it sucks emotionally, while it sucks in the now, from a pure economic standpoint, it is a massive steroid shot in the butt of Tampa Bay, Florida. The next 12, 24, 36 months, we have massive, massive amounts of money spent on development, redevelopment, fix and flips, you name it. on top of all the money that was already coming here, the redevelopment of Ybor and the continuation of Water Street and the beaches, all of this is happening at the same time now. What happens when billions and billions of dollars are spent in an area? What happens to property values?
Up.
They go up.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, quick tip. Favorite investing podcast or book or someone you love to follow that you think was very, whether they're inspirational or not, but somebody who's been influential in your investment career and background? Anybody come to mind? Or a show or a podcast come to mind?
It's just that. I don't have a direct person.
I just love following Jay Parsons. And if you can follow him everywhere but on LinkedIn, he's just one of the most brilliant minds when it comes to housing, rental space, asset classes, economic trends. He's just brilliant. I just started reading The Banker's Code because I'm really trying to like elevate my life because I just feel like, oh my God, right? I'm like I just started it and I'm just a couple pages in and I'm like, yeah, I'm playing way too small. Like I need to be the bank. Yeah.
I'll give you guys a book that it's a small read, but it's called Managing Oneself. It's by Peter Drucker. And just read that book, and it's really tiny. You can finish it in an afternoon. That's going to get you started off. As far as podcasts and that kind of thing, I don't like to recommend them because people always listen to music in their car, and they're not going to listen to that stuff anyway. So start small. But really, it's an interesting fact. If you look at the Forbes Tops list, there is not, the first 50 people are not in real estate. It's all businesses and stuff like that. So everything we're talking about simplicity of entry, right? What's the easiest way to get into it? Sure, you could, I don't know, create the next Tesla or something, and you can make even more, but it's hard to do. So everything we're talking about here is not very difficult. You do not need to have a PhD or anything like that. What I found is the only thing that makes people different is they just don't do it. They just don't try. There's nothing. This is not complicated stuff that we're discussing here. I don't see a whole lot of notes being taken, so it's not that much.
Jeff?
There's nothing wrong with normal person rich. Like, let's normalize normal person rich. Like, I am very happy being normal person rich. I don't need to be actual rich. Like, normal person rich is fantastic.
I want to ask a question, if I may. So when you are hitting those big flips and you're getting that 80, 100K, payday, A, what are you doing with the money? B, what are you doing as your tax strategy, and how leveraged are you going to be to get to the 100 doors?
Talk to my CPA and figure out how many rentals I need to buy to offset. So one thing we didn't talk about today was tax benefits of owning real estate and depreciating your real estate. You can accelerate depreciation so that you don't actually pay taxes. I'm a 1%er. I make a pretty good living, and I don't really pay taxes. So it's just offsetting what I'm going to make with rental properties, right? And then how leveraged will I be? I mean, right now, I'm about 50% LTV. And when I get to 100 doors, I'll probably be about 50% LTV.
Good stuff. We have time for probably maybe one more question, and then I'll wrap it up. But anyone have a quick question you want to ask? Hand up anywhere? Go does. We have a mic. Can I see your mic, Tim? Thank you.
Thank you. So Jeff, oh wow, okay. Since you talked about reducing your taxable income and that's why you're buying real estate, that's what we do. I think, or I feel like so many people don't know and understand cost segregation. Do you want to explain that?
So all cost segregation is analyzing the property, the building. A lot of people think it's just for commercial real estate. You can do it on residential real estate too. So you take all of the things that are going to wear down over time, and there's companies that do these reports for you, and they just kick off how much depreciation there's going to be, and then you can accelerate it. And that's all it is in simplicity form. So hey, over the next 7 years, you're going to have okay, so let's just take a step back. In commercial real estate, you can depreciate commercial real estate over 39 years standard, residential real estate 27 and a half years. So you can do a cost segregation study on a residential property, and instead of it taking 27 and a half years, you can do it in the first few years. I do about 50% year one typically on a rental property, and then I spread the other 50% out over the following 6 years because that's the number that I need to offset my income. What's that? Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to buy too many houses, but I mean, I wish I bought a lot more. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just, I have a very, very good CPA. She's an attorney, CPA, and me and her, just do actual tax planning for me. So.
All right, guys, we're out of time. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. Before you guys take off, we do have something to give you. We'll have a picture with these as well. But one of our partners, Tim White, runs a custom wine business, basically. And so each one of you has a branded wine, or I don't know, I think they're all wine, maybe champagne. This is Prosecco. So that's for you, Tim. Thank you so much. And let's see, this is Jeffrey Borum, Team Borum. You got it, man. Thank you. And before you guys run off, we'll take a quick picture. But we also have Build Wealth with Beth. Love it. Love it. That's awesome. All right, let's give them a round of applause one more time. And before we run, I just wanted to mention two things. So you might have seen these QR codes floating around the tables. If you would love to nominate someone to be a panelist next year, one of these QR codes allows you to do that. So we are putting together our list of nominations for all of next year right now. If you also would like to nominate a partner, who you heard some of the partners earlier, you can also do that. And the last thing I'll say is we've been putting together an online platform called Top Producers Nation, which is an online community that is now exists. We have it in place. And everybody who's here is invited to be able to join that if you are a licensed agent. We are, by the way, going to have a channel for partners, too. So more about that to come. But the Top Producers Nation community is like an online resource where people can share resources. But then weekly, we will have calls with top producers like the people you just heard from. And they will be starting in January every Tuesday at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So you can, if you're a member of the community, you can jump on and just continue to learn more from the top people that we have throughout the organization. So it's a free access, free resource to join as a community member. Once you're in the community, there are upgrades that you can choose to invest in if you want additional help with lead gen or all these different things. All of that's in there. You can see more about it, but you can join for free if you're a licensed agent, and we hope to see you there. It's topproducersnation.com. Everyone have an amazing Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in 2025 next year. Later.
Real estate agent, stop scrolling and listen to this if you want to be able to grow your business. Are you willing to grow your business right now and just hoping that you're going to become a top producer one day? Well, let us help you become a top producer today and make this the day that you think about it. We have a couple different programs to help you become a top producer in your market. And what we call them are the 3 C's with a 4th C as an option for you. Let me help you identify the 3 C's. Number 1 is what we call our community platform. We have a community platform that allows you to be in a community with other top producers, people that you know are producing at top levels in different markets all over the country, sharing best resources, sharing ideas, and of course, proximity is power. So if you want to be a top producer, it starts with being in a community that allows you to learn from other top producers. The second C in that mix, course. We have an online course built into our community, which has 82 on it, all designed to help you become a top producer. Different streams, lead flow generation, from optimizing your Google My Business, your Google LSA campaign, how to build out VSLs, funnels, ways to be able to differentiate yourself and help you by what we would call your USP, which is your unique selling proposition. In this course to help you build it out. You can do it on your own time. There's no rush time to do it. Or if you want, you can take advantage of our program, which is a done service, to help you execute and implement everything in the course. You are trained creative marketing assistants who are there to help you hold your hand, things done to the next level. The third C is our coaching opportunities. I have a weekly coaching call run by myself and other top producers in the nation, where I literally just moderate and interview and let these top producers their best practices, their secret sauce, so to speak, and you get to just ask them questions. Hey, all different brokerages are represented. We're not pigeonholed to any one specific, so you're not one type of strategy, right? You get to hear from literally the best of the best in different brokerages all over the country, and we do those every single week as part of our coaching program. We also have the opportunity for individual coaching, one-on-one coaching opportunities where you can get assigned to somebody who is a top producer, be able to have weekly or bi-weekly one-on-one calls with those top producers to help you grow your business. And then the fourth C, which is an optional add-on for a lot of our packages, is basically the automated CRM. I hesitate to use the word CRM because really it's more of a business automation platform than it is just a traditional CRM. But I'm talking about a platform that will build out websites for you, will build out all your sales funnels, can manage every lead. You can upload your entire database into that. There's built-in AI automation to allow you to communicate so that somebody's working for you and it's not just you all the time having to manually communicate to all your leads. There's ways in there to build out lead flow campaigns to help you with open houses, geofencing strategies that are in there, and much, much more. When I'm telling you that's just the tip of the iceberg with this automation platform, I could talk about it for 20 minutes and it wouldn't do it justice. So ultimately, that's another option that we have for somebody who definitely feels like you need to up your game. On the organizational side, on the software side, we have some of that to help you as well. So that's our program in a nutshell. Let's talk about it a little bit more. All you got to do is click the link below, and you can either book a call, a discovery call with me or someone on my team to be able to dive in a little deeper to your situation, figure out your vision, figure out your goals, more importantly, figure out where you are and where you want to be, and we can help you identify how we can help you get there in this discovery call. Or you could just join the community as well by clicking the link below and get access to a lot of the things that I just talked about by just clicking the link below and getting started. So don't hesitate. Don't wait for another ad. Don't keep scrolling. Click the link and let's get started. I can't wait to help you in your journey of becoming a top producer. We'll see you there.